city, I'm trying to get away. Trying to lock in the guap, trying to block with the pain. I'm a blind little boss, I'm on top of the game. I've been plotting a lot, now I'm tossing your bait. Yeah, my pops got caught, didn't lock them away. My mom fought hard, 5 jobs in a day. I'll be dropping the bars, but I'm copping the pain. We off to the stars, to a tropical place. Ooh, yeah, I'm spitting it heavy, the mission is steady. Your bitches are jelly, I'm ditching the petty. You're digging for pennies, I'm itching and ready. I open my heart when I listen to Shetty. I'm bold like a boss, but I'm little like Debbie. I know what the bras, I got richer than Getty. I'm holding the guap and I'm whipping the Yeti, yeah, Kari can play with advanced moves. I'm fucking my girl and her man too. I'm sinking the ball like the ran do. My soul is the one that I can't lose. I soak up the sun like a sand dune. I'm holding up love with the bamboo. I'm rolling the blunt by the candle. Taking the game, running it back without taking a drink. Yeah, I'm the one and I'm making a wave. Rolling the blunt and I'm blazing a J. I'm escaping the brain, go straight for the cake. I'ma take to the bank, now taking a break. I'm made for the race, I pray for the day. I wake with a bake in a great estate.
Welcome back. We are back. Shout out to Kari for the intro. We appreciate it. I'm Jay, and I'm here with the man, the myth, the legend, Maddie. He's back.
Hello, everyone. Yeah, we're back. We are so back for a new season of NFL football, which is just so ridiculously exciting. Also, new theme tune for me. Like, that's the first time I've heard that. It was good. It was good. It was a total surprise to me. I was like ready. So our normal theme tune is like 8 seconds long. So I was like, okay, just ready to go. And then at any point, that's like a minute long, that one.
Yeah.
So I was like, at any point, this could just stop. So I just I just smiled for a straight minute, like just not knowing when that was going to end.
I always give the a 2-second pause after the end of silence so we can focus from what we're doing.
I'm having a sound issue. Our first show back.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I just got you. There we go.
All right. So we got some good stuff to talk about going into the NFL season. We're going to talk some Cowboys, Vikings, Tua, Aiyuk. But let's start with your Cowboys, Maddie. Maddie's got this look on his face.
I'm just like, I have no idea what's going on. Like your sound's just going in and out. Like it's in my headphones and then it's just gone. But yeah, I just heard you again just then. That was so strange. But we've basically missed like all of preseason, all of off season because things have been busy. We thought we'd take a little break. We've been doing the show for like 3 years now is this our 4th season?
Yeah, I think so. I was just trying to figure it out the other day. I think it's our 4th.
4 seasons, four seasons, and it's an amazing. It feels like it's been no time at all, and we've basically just done 4 seasons with just no break. So it was nice to take a little time off and then come back to it. It's been really good. But there's loads of stories going around on the NFL at the minute. Some really, really crazy stuff. So let's get into it. What should we talk about first?
Your Cowboys. What are the Cowboys doing with Dak, CD, and Micah?
I don't know what's going on, man.
Hold on. I wonder if it's. I hope it's not my headphones and recording that way. Let me switch off of these.
I have no idea what's going on. It's like I do like the little tester thing, and it's like, oh yeah, we're all good. Let's go. So I'm just going to play you out.
Any problem with the audio now?
Hang on.
This is what happens.
Things are playing out on my phone. This is crazy. Yeah. Just what we're up to, but
all right. So we first time back, little technical difficulties. I hope this is all fixed now. We're gonna talk about the Cowboys, Dak, CD, Micah. I don't know what the fuck they're doing. Before we get into all of them, my first question is, do you think they'll figure it out with CD before this first game?
Oh, well, I mean, I hope so. And I think they kind of have to, right? Because no matter what the Cowboys do at this point, whether they decide that Dak is for them, like whether they decide it is Dak Prescott, whether they decide not, whoever comes in and is our quarterback needs a number 1 wide receiver. And I think last year CD showed very well that he is a number 1 wide receiver. I don't understand why they didn't just sign him at the end of like halfway through last year. Like it was pretty obvious that he was our guy going through, and you would have thought they would have learned from Dak's first contract that now you need to start signing players earlier. I don't know why they waited for Justin Jefferson to get paid. I don't know why they waited for all of those guys to get paid, because you knew that anytime that CD comes to the table, he is able to say, I had a better statistical season than these guys.
Now, that's the argument, and that's what you hear all the time on TV is he going to be, okay, so you put him above Amon St. Brown, but does he get to Justin Jefferson? If I'm CD, I want more, but if you're the Cowboys, you're going to argue nobody's done more in their first 4 years in the NFL than Justin Jefferson. Yeah. So, like, I don't know where that contract comes in, so I'm with you. Everybody should have signed, and we'll get to Brandon Aiyuk. Everybody should have signed their receivers before Justin Jefferson got paid.
You have to run it in before Justin Jefferson gets paid. Like all the others, I'm like, okay, I can argue that CeeDee Lamb with his age, and I think CeeDee Lamb is probably one of the most versatile wide receivers in the league as well. Like he can easily play X receiver, slot receiver, play out the backfield. Like he can run it. His yards after the catch are always very impressive. So he's a really he can high punt the ball. He can do everything. But I feel like you've just got to get everything in before Justin Jefferson, because we knew that Justin Jefferson was going to break the bank. Like you knew that. Like no matter how you strategized anything out, no matter how you worked anything out, Justin Jefferson was getting that money, like top money, as we go through. Now, what I can imagine is Jerry Jones is sat with the in the commissioner's office, just asking for more and more salary cap, like as they go through, just let's extend the salary cap. Let's extend the salary cap. Let's extend the salary cap. Because weirdly, that's what happened with Dak's first contract. So Dak's first contract, everybody said looked so horrendous, looked awful, and then the salary cap just jumps up out of nowhere, and the percentages all just start to work in the favor of that contract again. And now the short-term length of that contract is coming to bite the Cowboys in the ass again.
And all the money they put on the back end, because he's eaten like $60 million of his salary cap this year. And you have to get CD done, because you're lucky that Micah Parsons is staying fucking calm right now, as you know, not about his contract. Come next year, it's not going to be the same thing. And now you got to figure out how to keep Dak, get Micah happy. You're going to be in the same situation, but worse than what San Francisco's in with Aiyuk and the left tackle. Why am I blanking on the left tackle?
Williams.
Yeah. So Trent Williams, how are you you can't be in that situation with your best defense and your quarterback, right? Like you can't do that if you're the Cowboys. So you have to get CD paid. You have to at some point get Micah paid, because how do you not? Like he's one of the elite pass rushers in the NFL. And then so that makes me wonder, are they going to let Dak walk? Are they going to wait and see if Dak wants to match, or if they can match an offer? But what if somebody comes out and gives a bigger offer? Or what if Dak is in his kind of like, fuck this, I want a new start? Yeah,
so with the Cowboys, you have to pay, it feels like they always have to pay their players a tax for the star on the side of the helmet, right? It feels like the Cowboys always have to pay above money because their stars are stars, right? They always have. I always look at the Madden ratings of the Dallas Cowboys and think, how haven't we won a crazy amount of Super Bowls? Because the Dallas players get so much hype on Madden, all of the time. Like Dak Prescott is one of the highest rated players. So there's always the best wide receiver. Ezekiel Elliott still gets good Madden ratings and all of that kind of stuff. So you can see there's a tax on Dallas Cowboys players, especially when it comes to paying them. But you could argue that these three players, Dak is questionable, but these three players have earned that money. They've earned.
Dak's earned his money on the fact that, okay, he's top 10 quarterback and he worked his fucking contract perfectly. He earned everything he got by the way him and his agent played this out. And the Cowboys, I swear, I agree with what you're saying about the tax, but I swear the Cowboys think it's the other way.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's why they get fucked. Yeah, that's why they get fucked. So you can argue that with Dak Prescott as quarterback. Okay, Dak, take a little less money now. You'll make way more money because you were the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. Look at Troy Aikman, look at Tony Romo, look at all of these guys that get paid loads of money because they were the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. So you can argue that Dak might not want to do that. Dak might want to just earn all of his money playing football and then retire. and just that's it. Like that's what you might want to do. Now he'd be stupid if that's what he wanted to do, because I think Dak Prescott would be excellent in the media as well, and that would be done right. But if you look at it, so Dak Prescott, second team All Pro last year, right? So if you're putting up second team All Pro numbers, chances are you're going to get to be the high, and your contract is up in that second team All Pro year. The way that quarterback contracts works, you're going to be the highest paid quarterback in the league. Somebody's going to pay Dak the whatever ridiculous money it is now, the 60 million. So you've got to decide if you agree with everybody and decide it's a total fluke, and you decide that, okay, Dak Prescott just puts up these statistical numbers and won't get it over the line. And if that's the case, okay, then let him go. I trust the Dallas Cowboys player evaluation. Their amazing player evaluation is how they got themselves into this position in the fucking first place, because they have Dak Prescott, who they picked up as a 4th rounder and is now one of the best quarterbacks in the league. You have CeeDee Lamb, who's top 3 wide receiver in the league, like maybe out of the newer Jets. So like Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, like in that kind of range. And you have Micah Parsons, who again is like top 5 defensive lineman in the league. You also have Trayvon Diggs, who got a massive payday as well, as cornerback. So you do all of this, work and all of this scouting out, and they're great at it. So evaluate your players, and if you don't think they're worth it, let's just pull the trigger. Now, the only issue that you have with Dak and CeeDee Lamb is maybe the reason that they can't pay CeeDee Lamb is because they need Dak to restructure his contract. So even if they did decide to let Dak go, they would still be eating all the dead money and couldn't get CeeDee Lamb.
They could push that money, though. They could push that money in the later years if they needed to. And the thing is, I agree with what you're saying about evaluation in the Cowboys, except I kind of feel like they fell into Dak because everybody knows they wanted Paxton Lynch and Elway fucked them.
That's the one.
This is you're gonna hate me for this, but this is what I really see happening. Dak and Bill Belichick are going to the Giants next year together.
Yeah, I guess that's the worry about where Dak goes, right? I think they'll sign Dak. I think they'll eventually get it done and just
let the Eagles have a bad season. Let the Eagles have a bad season and then fire Sirianni, and they think it's Jalen Hurts' fault, and then Dak and Bill Belichick travel to Philly with each other together.
All right, we'll take Jalen Hurts in return. I feel like that. I think Dak's better than Jalen Hurts. I've been saying it for a long time, but
I'm just saying if they blame Jalen Hurts again this year, who knows what's going to happen in Philly? But I really think Dak is going to go to New York with Bill Belichick, because I think that's Belichick's dream job, is to go back to New York and win a Super Bowl as a head coach, where he won him as a coordinator. And if you can bring your Tom Brady with you, your fucking Dak Prescott, I don't know. But who knows? Maybe Belichick ends up in Dallas.
Yeah, the one plus for the Cowboys in terms of the Dak contract, the Micah contract, the CD contract, is also on their player evaluation on the other side. Now, the offensive line is getting a lot younger. Like, obviously, Zach Martin's still there, earning big money, one of the highest paid offensive linemen in the league, especially at guard. But the rookie that they've got at left tackle now, Guyton, he's looked really good in practice. All the offensive line, especially the younger players that they've brought in, have looked really, really good in practice. And that's one place where your salary cap can get really fucked on the offensive line. And we're not paying our offensive line anything yet, and they look great. And it's the same in the linebacker room, where it's a really young linebacker room. You're not paying anybody anything there. The defensive line room, okay, fucking once we pay Micah, we're going to have the highest paid defensive lineman in the league. But as you said, Micah's pretty chill at the moment. So maybe Micah's saying, okay, well, I'm up next year. Like, make sure you're structuring these contracts. I'm fucking up next year, right? Like, get me my money next year. And it's just chilling, which is very un-Micah Parsons so far. Like, I think, but yeah, so there are ways that the Cowboys can shape this. I feel like they can't admit a loss at the moment. I feel Jerry, everything he's trying to do is save face, and all that's happening is he's losing more and more face. Or he's not losing face, actually. He's just losing the Cowboys' money. Like, we need a running back. Our current starting running back is Rico Dowdle, on the depth chart, and we have Ezekiel Elliott playing at fullback or maybe center. Like who knows? But that's our current running back room.
How you don't have Delvin Cook in that room right now is beyond me. I am so baffled how Delvin Cook and everybody acts
so much
like
of the shit going on.
They act like he forgot how to play football in 1 year. No, he was just in a really bad situation with the Jets. It wasn't that he forgot how to play football. He was just in a bad situation. Like, I don't understand how Delvin Cook's not in that fucking room already.
Yeah, with Dalvin Cook, what gets weird with that is like, yeah, you can say that Jets were in a really, like, he was in a really shit situation at the Jets. The Jets offensive line got some of the worst push forward on run plays in the league.
Behind.
So, yeah, exactly. So the thing that works against Dalvin Cook there is Breece Hall, who is an animal and will be one of the best running backs in the league this season. A lock first round pick for fantasy, in my opinion. He makes Dalvin Cook look awful because of how good he looks. So yeah. I'm not sure what the Cowboys are doing now. Everybody's acting like the Cowboys have had this massive talent drain, right? And that going into the season, the Cowboys are in trouble. Colin Cowherd said the Cowboys are going to miss the playoffs and all of that kind of stuff. What players have they lost? Tyron Smith is a miss, obviously.
Lamb's out for 8 weeks.
Yeah. So apart from injuries,
my thing isn't the departure of players. My part is that I think with all the distractions, it's going to become a problem. I still think they make the playoffs, but I think it becomes a fucking problem. I think the distractions of every week having to answer questions about Dak's contract, about what Mike is going to get paid. Now, if you get CD in there, that's, if you get CD paid, that calms down probably the Micah talk too, because then they're like,
you've got to get one. You've got to get one of the 3 over the line by the season. Don't worry about the media talking about Dak Prescott's pay. It's what they've been talking about for the past 10 years.
It's like not Dak having to answer it. It's everybody else having to have dealt with all of the, like, as a teammate, you just get wore thin of all the bullshit. And it's a very weird situation with Mike McCarthy. You don't usually ever see a coach coaching on his last year either. It's a weird situation in Dallas right now. It's like Jerry didn't know if he wanted to reset or not. That's what it feels like.
Yeah, it's like it's almost like Jerry and others in the building. Jerry probably does listen to the counsel of others, like especially his son. It's almost like he doesn't trust in the coach or the quarterback, right? But they are statistically proving him wrong every year, so he can't do anything. And he's just been waiting for them to fall off to save face. And they've proved him wrong every fucking time. And Jerry, I didn't like Mike McCarthy either when he came in. We've got fun clips on our YouTube
I'm the guy who defended McCarthy, and I'm not even a Cowboys fan.
But Mike McCarthy has won 12 games a year, 3 seasons in a row. That doesn't happen, right? That doesn't happen a lot, especially not recently for the Cowboys. So I think it's time that you have to pay Mike McCarthy. I don't mind waiting on Dak. I would pay him, and I would pay him at least to be able to restructure things, like, because just the way that things are structured at the moment are just completely fucked. And I would definitely, pay CD is the way that it would go. Obviously, then you're just paying everybody. I back our player evaluation to get good rookies in every year. So you're top heavy, but then the player evaluation is fantastic.
The Dak thing's weird to me. Before we move on quick, the Dak thing's weird to me because what is your alternative? Like, Trey Lance, you're almost in the Vikings, like Kirk Cousins realm where we were for years. Like, what's the alternative? You're not going to get better, not overnight. I mean, you could draft a rookie and then go that route. But with the talent you guys are trying to win right now, like, what's the alternative? And that's
the alternative that I hear.
I don't want to give McCarthy a rookie quarterback.
Yeah, the alternative that I hear is Shedeur Sanders. Is we play this year with Dak and then we go Shedeur Sanders. And it's like, cool. If we're in the place to draft Shedeur Sanders, either we're able to trade Dak, which we won't be if we play this year. We won't be able to trade him because he's out of contract. He can go do whatever the fuck he wants. Or we're in a position to draft Shedeur Sanders, which means we were worse than the New England Patriots and we were worse than the Panthers and what other shit teams are at the
Or
bottom?
you're going to
this
give
year?
up fucking a ton of draft picks.
Or we're going to give up a ton of draft picks to go up and get Shador Sanders for a guy who we don't know if he works. And the reason he's been linked to the Cowboys is largely because of his dad. Like, not that Shador Sanders isn't going to be a first round QB. It's just, if it wasn't for his dad, would he be linked to the Cowboys? Would he be as high of a evaluated player? Would he be of what?
I think he's going to be the number one.
Interesting point.
I think he's going to be the number one quarterback. Yeah. So I think he'll be linked to anybody who needs a quarterback. Yeah. But speaking of first round quarterbacks, let's move on to how will the Vikings season be, and how will JJ McCarthy's injury affect that and his development?
It's an interesting question, right? It's an interesting point, because the reason you bring in JJ McCarthy is not necessarily to win this year. Like, that's like, I'd say Sam Darnold, JJ McCarthy at this moment in time, possibly a wash.
Not according to everybody who watched training camp. And I don't know. I watched one preseason game and I'm like, JJ's the guy. Like, I'm so
JJ was like the fucking guy in that preseason game, by the way. Like, in the whole draft process, I was shitting on JJ McCarthy like quite a lot. Like, I'm not like saying he's the worst quarterback ever. I was just saying, okay, let's all cool on JJ McCarthy a little bit.
I might have been beating the drum a little too hard while you were shitting on him too, because even before this draft, before the season was over, I was like, I've been watching JJ McCarthy and I like him and Jaden Daniels. Well, Jaden Daniels was my guy, but you know, like I like these two. But
yeah, in that preseason game, I was like, okay, JJ is here, but I like experienced quarterbacks in the NFL as well. Like, I think Sam Darnold has some experience as well. So if we just say the first year is kind of, okay, we know JJ has more talent than Sam Darnold, but Sam Darnold has some like more experience and that kind of thing. Maybe for the first 8 games, it's like a wash, right? But JJ McCarthy isn't about this year. Like, JJ McCarthy is about everything. And how much of his development do you think will be hindered by this injury?
I don't. And here's why. One, I don't want anybody to get injured, but I am glad he's missing the year, because that means they reconstructed the MCL and not trimmed it. If you trim it, these guys have problems later on. I am glad he got it fixed correctly, and got the long surgery. Right. Okay. He's not going to get the practice reps, which is one thing. I get that, but it's all that mental. He will know this system inside and out when he takes over next year. He will be in a great spot to like be in total control of what Kevin O'Connell wants to do, the concepts, everything like that. And you know me, I didn't want him to touch the field this year. So for him not to just sit and watch, and I don't give a fuck about this season, to be 100% honest with you. I always want to win, and I'm competitive, and I think the Vikings have a shot to like fight for the playoffs. But I truly, if they miss the playoffs, I don't give a fuck. Like, I'm JJ McCarthy, full speed ahead next year. But that, from all reports, that our defense looks fast, and our fucking secondary went from looking real shitty, depending on how 130-year-old Stephon Gilmore can play.
He looked good for us last year. I was upset.
Right, but I'm just worried, like, what point do you fall off, right? But, I mean, it went from that to Byron Murphy, Stephon Gilmore, and Shaq Griffin. Like, we're now a veteran fucking secondary, and I love what they did with the line. So I don't think this hinders the Vikings or JJ in a sense that they were going to get somewhere that they're going to end up somewhere they were, or they were going to miss out getting somewhere they were going to get with JJ. I don't think that's the case. I don't think the Vikings were winning a Super Bowl in JJ McCarthy's rookie year. I don't think we're missing out on that. So I think that fight for the playoffs, get better. And Kwesi's first draft was complete shit. Other than that, he's done pretty well. But what he has done that made him amazing is he's got some really good undrafted free agents who are balling the fuck out, like Ivan Pace and different guys. There's AC on the defensive line is coming to life. And now I hope they keep Bo Richter. He looks like he's going to be something from an undrafted free agent. So Kwesi shit the bed on the first draft, trying to be too clever with that trade back for Lewis Seen, and then Andrew Booth.
He also got he got unlucky with Lewis Seen as well. Like Lewis Seen should have been good.
And
the injury
Andrew
didn't help.
Booth has just been injured. Now you guys have him. Maybe you can do something with him that the Vikings couldn't. But that injury history just killed him. So, but with JJ, I think that it's a blessing in disguise that he doesn't even have a chance to see this year. And I think it's even better now that you won't hear the fans chanting for him the first time Sam Darnold throws an interception. And now Sam Darnold doesn't have to look over his shoulder either. Like, when are they going to bench me for this rookie?
Yeah, so I think Sam Darnold is an exciting storyline for the Vikings to see this season. And as you say, it is especially easier to cheer for Sam Darnold now that JJ McCarthy is totally out, right? It will be easier to cheer for Sam Darnold. Like, all right, he might make a few let's be real. Sam Darnold's going to throw a few interceptions this season. But you're not going to fucking jump on him because he is just the best that you've got. Like, back there as well. And I think he'll do well this season. I think he'll look great. And I think that the biggest disappointment for me is to find out where you are comparatively in this new NFC North. Like, so the NFC North now is like a totally different division than what I've grown up with. So like what I've grown up with, basically Aaron Rodgers was the quarterback of the Green Bay Packers my entire life. The Bears were like nothing. Have never had a decent quarterback. The Vikings are always a bit up and down, kind of always seem to mirror the Cowboys in a strange way in terms of like when you get good double-digit wins one season but don't quite make it in the playoff and then you fall off the next year and those kind of things. And the Lions have always been trash. Like that's pretty much everybody's growing up, right, where the Lions have been awful. So, but now you have this NFC North where the Vikings are building something here. Like I think we're probably higher on the Vikings than everybody else. Obviously, Jay has a Vikings banner behind his head there. Like, but people are saying a lot of shit about the Vikings, and I think they're really building something. We'll talk a little bit about Brian Flores in a second, but I think his defense is going to look excellent. I think when you've got like probably one of the best wide receivers that we've ever seen. I know it's like difficult to say someone's going to be a Hall of Famer when they're so young, but Justin Jefferson, if he doesn't make it, something's gone drastically wrong. You also have Jordan Addison on the other side. So you have this Vikings team that's really building something, and you have this young rookie quarterback who would have been great to see. Is Jordan Love for real as well when we go to Green Bay? Is what we saw from Jordan Love at points last season in the last 8 games, is that for real? The Lions have built this like team that looks like it's going to be here forever and like really stellar. And then the Bears, we don't know what they're going to be. I think Caleb Williams has looked excellent so far. He said all the right things. He looks really good in training camp. They've gave him all of the weapons that they never gave to Justin Fields while they were there. Their defense looked real at the end of last year. So the NFC North is like a new thing, and we don't get to see where the Vikings are in it if JJ McCarthy isn't playing.
So I don't think the Lions even make the NFC Championship game. I think, yes, Jordan Love is for real. And I have no fucking idea what to think about the Bears, because I told you before the draft, Caleb Williams is super talented, but I watched him play at USC a lot. And he makes some bad fucking decisions at the worst possible times. So we'll see if he can get rid of that. And then everybody's like, they gave him every weapon in the world. They got the best weapons ever for a rookie quarterback.
Oh, yeah. Let's chill out on that a little bit.
Keenan Allen is older than Dumbledore. Yeah. Which, for the record, I think the books made him 137. And then
Jay's a massive Harry Potter fan, by the way. If none of you know anything about Jay, he's a huge Harry Potter fan, and I really want to get him over to the UK so we can go see all the Harry Potter sites, because my parents currently live around the corner from Diagon Alley. That's just a nice side note into the Yankee and the Brit.
And I'm not sold on DJ. Like, I think he's a good receiver. I don't think he's as great as everybody else thinks he is. But I think I think Rome going to be great. I think
Rome Odunze is
I think Komet as a tight end is underrated. I think he's one of the better tight ends in football. I like what they did with their offensive line. So could the kid succeed? Absolutely. But he's like, I don't know. You know, and that's the only other quarterback I remember thinking this same way about was Stroud.
Yeah. I think everybody got caught by Stroud, right? Yeah. And Caleb Williams, I think the NFC North might be the most interesting division in football so far this year. It's a shame that JJ went down.
Well, what do you think about the whole Brian Flores thing, though?
Yeah, so is it a surprise to anybody that Brian Flores is a bit of a nasty bastard? Like, is it a surprise to you?
No, but what I do want to say is, did you see his interview?
No,
his defensive players came and stood behind him when he went up there, and he had to tell them to go away because they wanted to show their support for their coach.
Yeah, So this was another thing that we wanted to go. So just the Vikings are building something, I think, and it would have been fun to see JJ McCarthy in there, and we can still see how the Vikings are building throughout this year because their coaching staff looks excellent.
Side note, Darren Hall looks like he could be a backup quarterback for 12 years now this preseason.
So that's nice.
Showing that Darren Hall came out and actually shows he can play was kind of cool to see too.
Yeah, that must be nice for you. Trey Lance threw for like 325 yards, which sounds great. Got rushed for like 90, but also threw 5 interceptions.
Yeah, see, Jared Hall's got 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. So
what the fuck? So I remember looking at the start of the stat line and just thinking, oh my God, never mind. Dak Prescott, fine, whatever. Trey Lance just come in, it's fine. And then I got to the bottom of it and it said 5 interceptions, only 2 touchdowns. I was like, okay, never mind then. Sorry. Yeah. So the Vikings are building this great thing with this great coaching staff. And you have KOC, who's like one of the brightest offensive minds. And you also have Brian Flores, who, let's be real, Brian Flores is clearly a nasty bastard, right? Like, he's clearly nuts. Like, when you look at the way that he makes up defense. So the reason why you can play 80-year-old Stephon Gilmore in cornerback is he only has to cover for about 5 seconds because Brian Flores is bringing the house. Like, on pretty much every single go. He either rushes, he does this weird thing where he either rushes 3 or rushes 5 and 6. Yeah. Like, there's no 4-man rush. Like, it just doesn't exist. And the 3 means the 3 is a surprise play. Not 6 isn't a surprise play. 3 surprise play, which is just weird, right? Just strange. So Brian Flores paints like, I'm going to kill the quarterback all over the dressing room. I'm convinced he's gone to Dallas Turner and said, your job this year is to bring me the head of every quarterback we play this year, right? So is it a surprise that small-bodied Tua with injury problems,
who he didn't want to
draft, didn't like training with Brian Flores? Is it a surprise to anyone? No. Now, does that show Brian Flores is a good head coach? Fuck no. You can't piss off your quarterback.
Actually, I think the problem is, and this is me, okay, do I think Flores said those things? Yes, absolutely. Do I think he did it in a way of a Bill Belichick try to motivation thing? Yeah, probably, right? Like, and didn't go. But here's the thing. Tua broke every fucking rule of being on a team sport. He broke every rule. You don't talk about it in the media, and you don't make yourself look like a whiny little fucker. And I'm not saying Tua's soft, but he made himself look soft. Like, I don't think you're soft. You played for Nick Saban. Like, I bet you Nick Saban chewed you out. But you don't go on the media and do that. That's not something you do as a professional. So I think Tua broke every fucking rule. And now Stephen A. Smith just put an accusation on Dan Le Batard, saying that Dan Le Batard's working with the NFL and the Dolphins to try to sabotage Flores because of the lawsuit. So I'm not saying that's what's happening, but this is what this all turned into because Tua had to go and just say some shit.
Do you want to give us in a good Brian Flores impression? Do you want to give us some snippets of what he said? Do you remember any of it, just for our listeners?
Well, what's the one that keeps coming up is he said, "You're not even supposed to be here." We should have drafted the other guy, I think he said to him. And then from what I heard, there was some "we're going to go get Deshaun Watson" comments.
Yeah. I remember hearing that for the first time and was just like, you can't say that. Like, yeah, I know, and I get it. I get it's motivational, but you can't be a head coach and say that. Like, you can't.
I hope
And
it hurt him. I hope it hurt his
yes,
chances at head
yes,
coaching. As
that's
addictive
exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah,
That's exactly what I was going to say. If Brian Flores was ever going to be a head coach in the NFL again, bearing in mind he's suing an owner, and I know it's an owner that nobody likes, right? I know I know the Miami Dolphins owner is not a popular guy. You can't sue owners and want to be like a head coach and stuff like that again. Also, defensive-minded guys aren't going to be the offensive coach of the future. And now you're fucking chewing out what was he picked? Like 5th or 6th overall to it?
Yeah,
like that's a franchise-defining pick. You're saying like all of this shit. Like you can't say that. So it's gonna hurt his case. But who it hurts more, and you're so right about this, is Tua Tagovailoa. What do we all think about when we think about the Miami Dolphins last season? The first thing I see is them playing in Miami in 40-degree heat, tearing everyone apart, like absolutely annihilating everybody in front of them, scoring 40 points. How many points did they stick on Denver? Like 70.
For our American listeners, that's like he's talking about 100 degrees.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, but I just wanted, but I just still now both.
Thank you.
Got both. Yeah.
Thank you. But like in Miami, humid, 40 degrees Celsius, but like you're like, oh, did they put 70 on Denver? Am I remembering that right? Or am I just misremembering
like something wild? But
it feels strange to say that somebody put 70 on, right? And then I think of them wrapped up in Kansas City in whatever that was, -20, with Kansas City players bouncing around, getting all excited.
70-20.
70-20. Yeah, I thought so. Yeah. And so you have this idea of the Miami Dolphins of like, oh yeah, they're this fair weather team. They look great in Miami, where the heat is nice, where like Miami, notorious holiday destination. We then send them to Kansas City, where there's mustaches with icicles on them on the sidelines, and none of them look like they wanted to play in that game. That's what I thought about the Miami Dolphins. Also, we think that Tua Tagovailoa has an injury problem, and he's now come out, and I think it's fair enough to say I want sports players to be interviewed and be honest, right? That's what I want to see, but it does make him look like a whiny little bitch, like compared to everything else we know.
I want them to be honest, but there is certain things that you can say without saying what he said. Was it like, what did you think about Brian Flores? Was kind of hard working with him. I love being with McDaniels. We seem to click better. We're more in tune with what we want. Flores was a defensive guy. I don't think we always saw eye to eye, where McDaniels makes it really easy, makes me feel like fit in the system. Like you could say shit like that and say it without, like he literally, like in a roundabout way, he used the term terrible person without calling Flores a terrible person. If you're going to call him a terrible person, just call him that. Don't walk around it. And like, you just like, got to remember, it's not about being honest or that, because we want them honest. There's unwritten rules in that locker room. Now, how do the other players in the NFL look at you?
Yeah. And I think it makes the Miami Dolphins as a whole look soft, right? Just like it wouldn't necessarily, but just with everything that went last season, like the way that they play the game is the way that I love watching teams play the game. Like I love finesse teams. I think they're the most fun to watch, like the greatest show on turf, like all of that kind of stuff. Like I love that. The teams that win football games are the nasty bastards, the Brian Floreses of this world. And the Dolphins need more of that in them. The Dolphins going into this season need more of that. They need more needle, is what we call it in the UK. Like you need more needle, you need a bit more bite, a bit more fight, like that kind of stuff. And coming out and whining about an ex-coach for being too mean while he's at another team making them hard as fucking nails is like not going to look good for you.
I don't know how his other offensive players feel about him, but you will never find a defensive player that has anything bad to say about Brian Flores, from the Patriots to the Dolphins, to the Steelers, to the Vikings. Not a single defensive player says anything bad, and all you ever hear is you love him. Maybe, I don't know, Brian Flores. He seems like a genuinely nice guy, does shit in the community, mentors other young coaches, and, so he does seem like a nice guy, but maybe he's not the best fit for a head coach. Maybe he's not. And that works better for me. Let's just keep continuity in Minnesota. Let's keep Brian Flores keeping the defense nasty. They're bringing in his guys, Van Ginkel, Gennard, he liked, Cashman. They're like, so I watch everything Vikings, all the interviews. And Kevin O'Connell and Kwesi were saying like they bring these coaches in and go, who do you guys think will fit best? It's not just necessarily a me thing, which is, I think, a lot of learning that Kwesi did again from the first draft. I think he made some mistakes, but realized it. And that's why you see the second year where he was going to trade back instead of picking Jordan Addison. And Kevin O'Connell was like, we have to draft this guy. And then he listened to him and he drafted him. So I think there's a lot of collaboration. And now Flores is getting his guys on defense. I think it's great for the Vikings. I think Flores handled it as the best you could in that situation with his comments too.
Yeah.
I think it's wild that Dan Levitard's taking some fucking strays just for being the interviewer, though. You know what I mean? It's not like he twisted to his arm into saying the thing.
It's like we're in the part of the season, or like we're just coming out of the part of the season now where you're looking for stories, right? Like Stephen A. Smith, Dan Levitard is just giving you something that you can talk about for like 2 weeks now. Like
those two have been going back and forth all summer about every bullshit under the sun, though.
They should just be happy.
It started because Levitard said that Stephen A. was a company man, to that effect. And now on their podcast, they've been exchanging nice shots because they're friends, but they're irritated with each other. You can tell it.
Yeah. Classic. Yeah. Classic.
Yeah.
No, that's good fun. I love watching U.S. media beef. That's always
and we don't need to go into this tangent, but it doesn't matter if it's sports or if it's politics or whatever. If it gets views and clicks, that's all anybody here gives a fuck about anymore. And the truth has very little to do with anything.
Final just point on this particular tangent before we go too deep into it, because as you may know, me and Jay are quite politically conscious as well. Like we've had political conversations. Jay used to host but is Real Talk's back?
No,
I'm still going. I've seen some stuff about it
going on. Like
too much stuff going on
with it a long time.
Yeah, Jay used to host a political podcast called Real Talk, which I should look into reviving that at some point.
It made me angry. It made me angry a lot.
Yeah,
I don't like being angry.
I tried to do a few political ones, and it just makes me too pissed. Anyway, sorry, that's another tangent on the tangent. Everybody in the UK who's not crazy right wingers who decide to riot and try and burn down hostels full of children trying to sleep is quitting X, because Elon Musk is basically just like turning it into a right wing think tank in the UK, and is like he's going off it with our prime minister saying that it's becoming an Islamic state, and we're all quitting. Loads of Americans quitting X as well, or is it just Brits?
No, see what happened is, so last year or the year before, Zuckerberg came out with Threads.
Yeah. We've all moved to Threads.
This isn't a fact, and nobody get upset, but Republicans stayed on X, left went to Threads. Is what it seems like to me anyway. I don't fuck with either of them. So if I'm wrong, tell me in the comments. I'm an idiot. I'm cool with that. Because I just do this. I do Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. That's it. Like I don't mess with anything else.
So I delete the reason that I brought this up before we go on to any other potential news that we want to talk about is I used to use X for like American football news, like all the time, and I've deleted my account because it just got too, like, not because of the American football news, because of the political stuff. It just got too vile. Like everything just got too vile. So I had
everybody you followed on X is on Threads. So if you
is also on Threads.
Yeah.
So I've got them all on Threads. It just doesn't feel the same. I don't know. My American.
I've never really used Threads, and Twitter was never really my thing because it was just
Threads.
It was random thoughts, and so to me, what you have Twitter, you have Instagram, and Facebook is kind of both, and so it just never always made sense to the old guy.
Maybe Threads feels softer. Like I like my
It
NFL
probably is.
news to be. I like my political news. I don't know. All the right wingers have found us again.
Can we be honest
like
though?
on
Like,
threads.
come on, like Elon. I'm not saying in a fight, but are we not saying that Elon's way more aggressive seeming than Mark Zuckerberg?
Oh, I think Zuck could have him. I think
Well,
hasn't
that's
Zuck been like?
trained in all kinds of martial arts. So
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
But like,
Yeah.
I'm just saying aggressively. I feel like Elon's more of an aggressive guy. So
I'm never going to side with either billionaire. I remember somebody telling me that like there's good and bad billionaires, and I was like, that's bullshit. Like, if you get to the point of billionaire, if you have that zero at the end and you're not just giving it away immediately, like you're not.
I'm very sorry, Swifties,
anyway.
and not all the beliefs of Maddie are the same. The Swifties are going to come at us. You just better watch it. I don't want no part of pissing off Swifties.
Taylor Swift gave loads of food to food banks in the UK, so it's very difficult.
I'm just saying, in the US, there's two groups you don't fuck with, and it's the Swifties and the Beehive, and I'm not fucking with either one. All right, back to some football. Where do you think Brandon Aiyuk ends up? I'll just start this. I think there's only two places he ends up.
Go on.
He's going to re-sign with San Francisco, or they trade him to the Commanders. I think that's where it heads. But this thing is so weird. With these hold-ins are so weird,
so strange. Like it feels so weird. I don't understand why you would hold in. Like I don't get it.
You don't get fined.
Yeah, I guess it's the same as like quiet quitting. Do you remember like the new trend?
Yeah, but
of,
we don't need to get into how that was some bullshit for the corporations. But
we're
going to give you more work, and then you're going to quit, and you accidentally quiet quit when we didn't pay you more to do two jobs. But that's a whole nother. Fuck your pizza party, dude. Give me more money.
I guess that's what Deebo Samuels did when he held in last year, because like they were giving him jobs as a running back and a wide receiver, and he was saying, "You're not paying me for two jobs. You're just paying me for one." So
he had a point.
I'm not playing running back anymore. Yeah, he had a point. He had a great point. I mean Brandon Aiyuk for the San Francisco 49ers.
Personally, before you go on, sorry, I really want to see him end up with the Commanders.
I think that would
only because I like Jaden Daniels.
Dallas Cowboys hat off. That would be great for the Commanders, right? That would be really great for them. It gives Jaden Daniels someone to throw to. They got rid of Dodds. Also, people forget that I swear people forget that the Commanders have Terry McLaurin. I swear people forget that.
People forget that he exists. Yes.
Yeah. People forget that he exists because of like how bad the quarterback. Like I like Sam Howell. I think Sam Howell was great fun for the Commanders, but he's not like it. He's in the Gardner Minshew, Ryan Fitzpatrick category of quarterback where it's like they're fun to watch, but you're not getting the good numbers. So they forget that Terry McLaurin exists. So you have this. They have nothing else apart from the fact that like we think of the Commanders as a poverty franchise, basically, right? And then they've got Jaden Daniels, who could be or could not be one of the most electrifying quarterbacks in the league, like due to the way that he runs with the ball, due to his absolute cannon of an arm, but then also he's quite slight-bodied. How many hits can he actually take? Let's see. But then you could have on one side Brandon Aiyuk, on the other side Scary Terry. They also have Austin Eckler coming out of the backfield that people seem to have forgot that happened. Like the Commanders had one of the bigger rebuilds in the free agency period that we've seen. So the Commanders could be potentially dangerous. Now, I personally, Brandon Aiyuk would only go there for Jaden Daniels. I don't think he'd go there for any other.
Well, yeah, because that's why he wants to go there, though, because he played 1 year with Jaden Daniels at Arizona, and then they're like best friends. He even took him to the Pivot podcast, and there's that clip of him calling him and saying that the 49ers don't want me and that kind of shit. It's the Devontae Adams, Derek Carr situation.
Yeah, exactly. Where there was no reason for Devontae Adams to go down to Vegas, apart from the fact it's Vegas, obviously, but also for Derek Carr. Yeah, that's the other part. Like going to Vegas, fine. Like Washington for an NFL player, I'm sure it's not the most exciting place you can be. Like hobnobbing around with all the politicians.
You're a spitting distance from Baltimore, Philly, Cleveland, New York. True.
One of the only places in the States where you can get around with train travel quite well.
Yep.
Only once. I know that's not a big deal to other people. It's a massive deal to me. And we can
actually more and more Americans are getting on that. We need better railroad, but not enough yet. But it's a start.
Time. Yeah. But so you get Brandon Aiyuk in the Commanders. I think that's a great place for him to go. I think that's really exciting. I don't think he will stay with the 49ers. I think he's almost got too far with that now. I think he's too far down the road with the 49ers. I think the Steelers were a really interesting fit. I think that would be fun. I think Pickens with
Pickens
I've started to fall in love with Fields again, man. Huh?
Pickens is in Philly.
Pickett.
No, but
yeah,
no,
Pickett
here's the thing. Why, if you're Brandon, and I know that's one of his choices, but if you're Brandon Aiyuk, why would you want to go to a team that has two bad quarterbacks?
They're too. Oh God, no. I'm in an abusive relationship with Justin Fields. Everybody, just so you know, don't fucking clip that. I'll get trouble.
Listen.
I'll get.
Here's the thing.
I'll get.
I am with you though. Start Fields if that's what you're thinking. Play Fields because we already know what the fuck Russell Wilson is, and I think his best days are behind him.
Yeah, play Fields at the start of the season, and if it's a disaster, oh my God, you've got Russell Wilson. He'll be one of the best fucking backup quarterbacks in the league. Like Russell Wilson didn't have a terrible season last year. Just a reminder. Like he just had a very mediocre, very middle of the road season. He's like the 17th to the 25th best quarterback in the NFL. That's where Russell Wilson is. Now, some weeks, Justin Fields is like top 10 because he hasn't thrown an interception and he's ran for 150 yards. He's maybe thrown also for only 150 yards, but that's fine. And then sometimes Justin Fields is like the stat that you always used to show where he was like 33rd in basically every now, to be fair,
I've said this too when I shit on him. He didn't have any receivers because, again, I'm not that sold on DJ.
Yeah. So if Brandon Aiyuk goes there, then you do have the potential for an exciting opportunity. Also, Arthur Smith, as much as I shit on him as the head coach of the Atlanta Falcons, I think is a good offensive coordinator. I think that would be fun. So George Pickens, Justin Fields, Brandon Aiyuk, Jalen Warren, and Najee Harris is an exciting offense to put on the field.
I was a fan of him coming out of college, but I think Najee's run his course for me.
But with Warren, with the two-headed Warren and Najee is okay.
I just think I kind of feel bad for the Steelers where, you drafted him, but you're kind of stuck with Najee this year. And there's no way they're going to pick up his fifth-year option, right? So
So you either have that. So you have him with the Steelers, which is a really exciting thing. A really exciting thing as well. I've seen the Browns spoken about a lot, but I don't know where they get any of the cap room to sign anybody with Deshaun Watson.
The thing too is I try to sit back and go, what teams in the NFL are one receiver away from going to the Super Bowl that Brandon Aiyuk could put over the top? And I've only came up with one team, the 49ers. The 49ers is the team that needs him so much to get to the Super Bowl that at worst, if I'm the 49ers, you're just playing here this year and we'll figure it all out after this season. Otherwise, you're not playing. Yeah,
I think my favorite destination for him to go. So the 49ers, yes, I agree. And I think the way that they run that offense, so I'm not really sure they need Brandon Aiyuk necessarily. Like they'll be able to find ways to win in other ways. If I'm the 49ers, I want to get him out of the conference if possible. So that's why the Commanders don't necessarily work for me. Although if you're the 49ers and you're worrying about the Commanders, then something's wrong. If you're thinking about the Commanders, then something is wrong. But anyway, you try and get him out of the division. So what about, and this is a team that we spoke about, the LA Chargers. The LA Chargers is a team who they're a wide receiver. They're in desperate need of a wide receiver, in absolutely desperate need. Now, a bit of a poverty franchise again. They don't go out and spend the big bucks. They don't go out and spend huge money, and they've just signed Justin Herbert to huge money. recently as well. But there's got to be some cap room in there for a wide receiver for them to take. And Brandon Aiyuk, for me, would be the perfect guy for them.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out because we're less than like what do we got 13 days or something crazy to tell even less than that till the Thursday night game. So like I don't know how they're going to figure it out, and I don't know if missing training camp is going to affect him at all. He knows the system, but like are you going to be in football shape? I have no idea. And then if you go somewhere else, now you got to learn the system. So they kind of, not that he's dumb, but you have to dumb it down at first for what he's doing and build him into that offense. So I'm not sure how this turns out. I thought this got taken care of a long time ago.
I'm a little worried about, like, not a little worried with my Cowboys hat on about the 49ers, but I'm a little worried for the 49ers this season, I must say. Like, I think Brock Purdy's played at such a high and elite level. Let's see if he can continue playing in that way. But it's, for me, with the 49ers, it's always the injuries. And I think they do have a talent deficiency compared to where they have been in previous years. So if you're working at a more talent deficiency and you're getting the same amount of injuries, which I don't know why they haven't sacked their health and conditioning person yet. That's the people that we were telling them to make the big change with. But I'm worried about the 49ers this year.
Everybody who deals in the numbers of the salary cap keeps saying that this is Kittle's last year in San Francisco.
That'd be interesting. That'd be interesting to see where he goes. That'd be so freaking exciting. Like I love tight ends. Tight ends, I think, are one of the most underrated weapons in the NFL. By the way, like the tight ends is like, oh, it's only a tight end. If the Chiefs didn't have Travis Kelce, where would they be? Look, like if Lamar Jackson didn't have Mark Andrews, where would he be? You know,
your top tight ends are always a weapon because they're a mismatch and they can block. So they're a receiver and an offensive lineman in one, and they don't ever get paid or get the credit. Like they don't get nowhere near wide receiver money or a fucking lineman money. So it's just a real weird position to play.
Yeah, it's such a strange position. It's like center as well, by the way. Center. So actually both of the Kelce brothers, weirdly. But center, not the highest paid offensive lineman, but the leader of the offensive line, and is the only one who has to start blocking with one hand. You know?
Well, there you have it. We did it, Maddie. We're back. Everybody, we got our first episode out of the way. Feeling back into the flow already. I can feel football coming, and I do want to thank the Packers for one thing. In less than 2 weeks, I get to go watch the Counting Crows for free, thanks to the Packers. So thank you very much, Green Bay.
Excellent.
I'm a huge Counting Crows fan because I'm a 90s kid, and I get to watch them for free. Opening weekend. Oh, second weekend, because that's home opener. So the Saturday before the second weekend, I'll be down at Lambeau Field for the Counting
Packers playing. Are you staying for the game? Do you stay for the game afterwards?
No, the game's on Sunday. The Counting Crows are on Saturday.
Oh, right, okay. Okay, got it.
And I'm just walking distance, so we'll walk down there. We'll have a fucking blast.
You could just open your windows and just listen to it from your couch.
I probably could, to be honest with you. So, but thanks to the Packers, I've seen a lot of free concerts, so I appreciate that. Like
it is a
BB
hell of a
not
stadium.
too long ago because of the Packers this summer.
You've got to be thankful to the Packers for something, I guess.
I'm also thankful for Titletown, the area they built around it. We love it. We go there a couple times a week. I'm thankful the Packers are here because I love to hate them.
Yeah, and the World Cup is coming to Green Bay due to the Packers.
Did they decide that? Oh, yeah, they did decide that. That's right. They're going to have that qualifying or whatever.
I think it's the training facilities are in Green Bay. No,
yeah,
I think someone's got to go training Green Bay, which would be fun. If Wales make it, I'll be in the US, so I'll come over and say hello. But yeah, it's great to be back, everybody. Really enjoyed our first show back. Our fantasy draft is coming up, where the Brits are going for making it 4-4, baby. 4-4. We've had 3 British wins.
I just want everybody to know they're cheating bastards, but we're 0-1 in the only competition between them that ever mattered. Or 1-0. They're 0-1 in any competition. Right. The one that really mattered.
Which was?
Becoming a country.
U.S. independence.
Yeah, like fucking 1776, baby. 1776.
We burnt your White House in 1812. Ha 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 ha. Stupid fucking things. Right.
We saved your ass in World War II. Okay, anyway, here we go. Thanks for watching, everybody. One world,